What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dash, coming back from All Takes. Well, so tell me, guys, it's reaction time, and this is to Amazon's The Peripheral. This will be for episode 2, titled Empathy Bonus. Now, I so enjoyed the pilot, getting introduced to the character Flynne, played by Chloe Grace Moretz. Also, the character played her brother Burton, played by Jack Rayner. Just seeing that, like I said, small town, working a little job, taking care of her brother, and her ailing mother. You see her brother introduces her to this, game that he's being asked to test out. And the first time they use it, well, she uses it as him, everything's good. They like the way they follow through with whatever within the game, so much so they wanted them to come back and do it again. Second time around, not so much. You see a scene where it looks like, he is not able to move. They're taking eyes out and reintroduce another eye, hence from the woman that in the first time of the game he had to sedate inside of a vehicle, all the while trying to stay alive with some AI transporting them to her home. So there's a lot going on. Now, mind you, with that, we got introduced to another character named Aelita in this one for that particular first episode. And being that she's pulling the strings, that she says, in regards to this whole thing with this game. And with that, you're kind of just jumping right out there, into the fray and not knowing what you're dealing with. And when she dealt with that second, situation and barely unscathed for was considered her brother, and the guy's like, who are you, whatever, I'm gonna find out. And he uses some sort of gadget and pushes her out. Her brother's like, what happened? Like, she's like, never effing again. And I'm like, buddy, don't think that this game is just so simple, whatever, and all that. You're making such good money that you'll be able to be set for a nice amount of months or whatever, but with that comes a price. And now that we see that clearly whatever Aelita was wanting Burton within the game to do is now exposed him, to the point where now they're looking for his sister. Her sister's been using it. You have a guy by the name of, Will, trying to find her, to warn her you need to get back into the game so you can figure something out, whatever, so you can stay alive. You see her show up with her brother. He's, hanging with some of his guys, and they're talking about, about other things, which I look forward to that, because there were certain things with his back, and I was like, okay, what's going on? So hopefully as time goes on, I'll understand what that was, because he's dealing with his own, issues with pain and all that, because that was the key prior to her doing a game for the money, was the fact that he needed more medication for his mother, and dealing with the fact that he had to get some medication, some actual drugs, and it caused like a ripple effect. So we already have other characters who are going to be playing a part there within the small town where Flynne has to deal with them. Then she has the backstory with her, kind of having a little thing for somebody she's known since they were young and all that. One of the police officers getting married and all that, and you can already see the chemistry. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that progresses as time goes on. But knowing that there's a bounty and now people are looking for it, when you see the cop at the gas, and he knew these two cars that don't look like they're not from here, and then all of a sudden when they pull over, and I'm like, where are they at? And I said it, are they invisible? They were invisible, and they only made that man go out in the street, unbeknownst to him why they would make him go out the street when he could have just shot him right then and there. But they can't be caught on camera. Most of these vehicles have some sort of cam, and then also I'm surprised he didn't have body cam and all that, but they were able to pretty much deal with him. But it set it up where now they're looking for her. They're gonna kill her, probably her brother, her mother. Just whole situation great. I'm glad the friends were like, let's check something out. Sending out drones, whatever, checking the surrounding area, the house, whatever. Looked like they got some company. So that's kind of how we left off. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Say the rest of my thoughts at the end, you guys.
We've taken the necessary steps to eliminate the threat.
Those being?
We've put up a posting on something called the Dark Web.
Well, it's not just him we need dead. It's anyone even remotely associated with him.
Sorry, motherfuckers have no idea who they just picked a fight with. Link.
Wait.
Link.
Oh, get up! Come
Is that him? Oh, shucks.
Piloting that body as if it were your own. And all this, let me show you. Not at all. If it were time travel, as you say, you'd be here physically. This is merely a matter of data transfer. Quantum tunneling is the technical term for it. Your mother. She has a brain tumor. A glioma.
Okay. Don't really need to be from the future to know
It's going
that
to kill
one.
her in 4 weeks. On September the 22nd. I sent the formulas to your pharmacy. You're printing it now.
What became the fourth level, John?
We wired payment direct to the pharmacy. I'll see you soon.
That's the car. I was about to say.
Fucking A.
Oh, sure was horrible.
It ain't a sim. When I put on the headset, I'm operating the actual body. It's some kind of robot, I guess. I witnessed something while I was there. Something that these folks were wanting to kill me. To keep quiet. It's in the future, Burton. I'll go back. I'll get more intel if that's what you want.
No fucking way. I'm going in there.
No. He doesn't want you. Okay? He wants me.
I don't give a fuck who he wants.
God damn it, Burton. Why do you have to go and fuck things up all the time, huh?
You the reason this is happening. Should have never let her put it on.
But I'm going, Burton. This ain't a discussion.
Oh, hey.
Okay?
No need for a discussion.
Welcome back. We run his garden to give you a moment to acclimate before we begin.
Again, what?
Debriefing you. Seems the gentleman looming rather threateningly against the tree. He has a knack for that sort of thing, as you'll soon see. And Ash is the exceedingly gloomy-looking young woman at the table. They work to maintain the connection between our two worlds. When a party from our present made contact with the past, that past immediately branched off and formed its own continuum. Or parallel timeline, if you will. We'll start.
Aelita worked for an entity called the Research Institute. Our duties there gave her access to your stub. We've been paying her to provide us with a trapdoor into it. Now that she's missing,
Shouldn't be too hard to help a good woman who's had a shitty run of luck lately. Make that happen. I'll start talking about your missing lady. Give you my word on it, too.
6.8 SPC. We use those in the war on occasion.
Oh, wow, Hero. That seemed a bit odd, don't it?
Whole damn thing seems pretty odd to me, Tommy.
They said they're watching. I guess they'll try to give us a warning before the next wave hits. They said there's some money, though. A lot. $250,000.
Operations.
Yes.
Why don't you come with his team? I'm a visit now, ain't it? That's what I figured I was gonna find you dead one of these days. What you got going on out there? Flynne took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are hiring folks to kill us. I didn't say you had to believe me, just need to help. Sober up. Come camp at our place. Leon's there for an offload if you want it. You remember me standing here telling you all this come morning. That's right. If it...
Inside should be around. Would you excuse this, Aelita? We'd like to pay you $10 million to eliminate 2 members of your community. We're prepared to transfer 25% into your account now, as a good faith payment. The rest to be paid upon completion. The individuals' names in question are Flynne and Burton Fisher.
Engage!
They know where to put that money.
See you, Flynne. I can see you. I can see you.
Alright, you guys, I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like it's picking up because we're learning a little bit more about what's really going on. Come to find out, this definitely is not just a game, and knowing that the person at the center of them wanting to know a little bit more or finding out information through Flynne about Aelita. So definitely, I'm curious. I really want some more backstory on Aelita. You do see a scene of her and Will, you know, chatting and him trying to understand what's going on, and he's trying to locate her. Definitely have some sort of, you know, connection or bond of friendship of some sort, you know, and you're trying to grasp that clearly when it comes to Will, because he's kind of, you know, playing on a thin line, dealing with trying to do what he needs to do with the guidance from Lev, which we get introduced to in this episode, as well as, you know, trying to find a way to get in contact with Aelita, see what's really going on if he's not privy to certain things. And I don't think he knows everything of what's going on, but just enough. Now with Flynne and Burton, you see the situation where at the beginning all hell breaks loose. I really need to understand what is going on with Burton and the rest of his friends with the body aspect. I don't feel like they've really truly covered all that when they're syncing up and then they're preparing themselves to go to literally task a war with these gentlemen who are there to ambush, you know, him and his sister and mother and whoever else that is there. And you see clearly it's like a little bit of a showdown. You know, they get some licks in, but of course, you know, Burton and his friends, they come out of it unscathed. The other guys definitely, you know, meet their maker. Eventually Connor shows up and helps them with, I think, 2 others that eventually I think had gotten away. Very interesting. With that being said, of course, Flynne eventually has to put the headset back on and, you know, meet up with Will. She gets a bit of an introduction at first. She's kind of hesitant and understandable. He does help her in instance when it comes to her mother by letting her know about some medication he can help to help her with the situation. But he does kind of have her fearful and scared because he shows in her obituary, you know, you see the part, I think, you know, with Tommy, you know, getting married, then below it shows her mother. So she's, you know, somewhat hesitant, but then kind of goes along with it. She has Connor, you know, go with her, and she ends up going to the pharmacy and she gets the medication and she gives it to her mother. So knowing you'll probably be some sort of side effects, don't know how, you know, quickly it'll work or whichever. Now mind you, being that she went under, you know, Burton's wanting an intel. She eventually tells him that she finds out that this is not just a headset, this is pretty much time travel. It shows where it's in the future. This is London. It's I think they said about 70 years. And at first he's just like, it's this thing that's it's in London, whatever. But when she throws on the you know amount of years, and then saying what he did in regards to the medication, whatever she gave it to, was like, oh, you believe in this person? No, I don't care. It's like I'm gonna go in there. It's like, no, I'm gonna go. He wants me. This is, I don't care what he wants. And he's like, you know, you doing this and that. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I see what he's saying, but remember now, this was your doing. You wanted your sister to do this. Granted, she played the games before and hit the levels and all that, so he figured she'd probably get very far into this, whatever, especially with this little, you know, sim that showed up that they want him to test out. And look where it got you all. And a point where you put yourself, your sister, and your mother in danger. You got your friends helping you. You're covering up, digging up, you know, dirt to cover bodies up. I'm was just like, when she was just like, you know, I'm going to do this, whatever. It's no negotiation. I was like, yeah, ain't no negotiating. I'm in this. They want to see me. You're going to go along. I will come back and give you the intel, whatever else more I learn. But no, this isn't all you running anything now. You put me in this. I'm in this now. They know her. They see her. So it's almost like he can't be the only one to deal with it. And who's to say what other technology they have, him thinking whatever him and his friends are linked up to with their bodies and their skin is going to be enough to help them be ahead of the game. You know, you don't know what you're dealing with. Hence, when you see Tommy, he comes across a situation totally something you would never see. A cup just in the air. And I'll admit, I was kind of taken aback. I had to think for a second. I'm like, what in the world's going on? And it didn't dawn right away. It was, you know, the two Audi vehicles cloaked, you know, invisible. And then once he knocked it over, that's when he kept hitting it. And I love that scene when he hits it. You can see it bounce off and showing a little bit of the vehicle. But then he opens the door and you see inside, but outside it still looks like it's invisible. Love that scene of that and him just being like, what the hell is this? In our town, probably like, what? He's probably clueless as to what's going on. Then he's investigating the vehicle, finds, you know, some sort of shell. And he was like, you know, not too far in the distance of where, of course, Burton and Flynne live. Goes up top, you know. Burton tries to play it off with her and all. He just looks suspicious just with the way he's phrasing, the way he's talking to him. Just like as if he really thinks that boy is that naive. You know, a little bit something more is going on. Your boys happen to be over. And he's like, you didn't give an invite to me and fiance? He's just like, yeah, okay. So that whole scenario, he probably buys it for the moment, but things are just not meshing because it is not that far from their house. So something definitely is not right, and that's not going to probably be the last time we're going to see some people trying to come to their home. So that part happens where you see eventually Flynne does have to go back. She sees Will there, of course, I think in Notting Hill, I think in London again. She gets to meet Lev. She meets also two technicals named Ash and I think Ocean. I hope I'm saying that name correctly and all that. I'm going to tell you, like, this Ash I don't particularly care for. She just gives me the vibe like she don't trust anything, whatever and all that. Just, I'm already getting that vibe from her. I just feel like that one's going to be, she going to be some trouble in some instance, whatever. You know, popping off at the mouth, saying things, whatever. I'm like, ugh. But anywho, he's kind of just letting her, you know, understand what's going on, where she's at, and why she's there for some sort of a debrief. And she kind of asked a couple questions, and they wanted to know this. What does she know about Aelita? And she's just like, you know, you all want to know about this woman, this and that and other. And they had to explain that they dealt with some sort of, I don't know if it was some sort of company where she was, and certain things happened and all that, and certain things that she knows, whatever, they don't want to get out. So that is the interesting part with that. That was the scene where you see also with whatever information that went into Burton's little AI or whatever, or clone they had, and that guy Daniel who came and pretty much fought with him and also fought with a little bit of Aelita, but Aelita got away. So what is interesting to me is her asking questions like, okay, how would you know this about my mother? You know, you talk about it's only a couple of weeks, maybe, you know, I think 6 weeks or something like that. You had an obituary. What about the future? What am I doing in the future? What happens to my brother? What happens to me? He's like, you know, you seem to know a lot, whatever. She's like, you know, we're just really nothing to you. I was like, you know, are we even human? He's like, are we human? And it's Lev speaking, and you can see kind of like a back and forth, and he's like trying to keep on topic, and she's like, in the end, when they're trying to explain stuff, and I love her little moment with Ash, like, y'all got, you know, these little animals, you know how to move these tattoos, you know, just this. She's like, you know what? You're going to help a young woman who's down her luck right at this moment and all that. You know, you do what you need to do for me, then I'll start talking about Aelita. You know, and just how she gave that look to Will, like, yeah, you want something from me, I want something from you. Like, make it happen first, then I'll help you. So, in the midst of that, what's also interesting is now we're getting to see a little bit more of Corbell. Don't particularly care for him the first one because he's so mad because his boy's weak. I'm like, you weak too, buddy, because it wasn't like you went to Connor to do anything, and that's very interesting to me. Now, mind you, he's doing a Sims himself, you know, all decked out in a white suit, whatever, with this girl at the table named Carmen. Then all of a sudden, Daniel shows up. Like, we've been trying to, you know, to locate you, you know, talk to you, whatever. They decided to come through the damn game, and he's just like presenting themselves like, we got 10 million. We'll give you just, you know, 10% of that if you will kill 2 people for us. We want you to kill Flynne and Burton. And he's like, okay. Like, this is set up, this, whatever, like, in game, just, he's just frustrated, like, like, I'm not even trying to be a part of this. What in the heck? Because it's almost like money to, and this is like random 2 people in town, and it just happens to be him. Now, granted, I think his radar went up a little bit, probably, you know, with Burton, if it would just been Burton's name and all his military or whatever, something like that. But you throwing in him and his sister, you know, he's just like, I'm freaking out. So he's with his girl, but you see, that money was transferred at 10%. He's all freaked out because now they locked it in, and now it's almost like he's kind of, in some ways, put in a situation where he's kind of being forced now because they sent the money. Yeah, I feel like with him, he gonna try. He gonna try to. If it's not just him, he gonna make his boys try to do it so he can keep his hands a little bit clean. I will say this: when it comes to Burton, I did enjoy the singing of him and Connor when he goes over it, because you see there's a moment where she goes back, when she comes back out and she sees Tommy running away, well, walking away, excuse me, like, you know, checking like, is everything okay, whatever. And he's like, you know, what's going on? And she, you know, gives him a little bit more information. They're going to help us, whatever. They're going to send us some money, about $250K, and then they're like, you know, we're going to work around that so they don't, you know, tie into Social Security. Come to find out, their cousin was the jackpot. They're at the little bar, whatever. They see Corbell, you know, cheering them, you know, giving them drinks and all that. But I like how Burton's putting together a list, you know, with, you know, what they need, and also with his team, whatever. And she's like, what about Connor? I just really like that we're getting small little bits, a little extra layers with Connor. And I'm glad, because definitely when you look at him, it's like, you know, he's been through something definitely traumatic. I'm figuring when maybe he was on duty of some sort, and it just looks like he's just been down for, like, he's, when they keep talking about, you know, are you drunk? This is this, you know, coherent, whatever and all. And 9 times out of 10, the scenes we've seen with him so far, he has, well, the one with him, Flynne, dealing with the guys that get the one pill. He a little bit of his faculties, enough of what was going on. So if he had to draw what he needed to draw to get them to give her what she needed to help her mom, in this instance, he's just, you know, laid out, sleep, whatever. And eventually, you know, Burton's having a talk with him, and they kind of reminisce a little bit. You see the pictures on the wall and all that, and he's like, you don't really visit, and he's just like, he's going through some things. You can clearly tell. I feel so bad for him, because you can tell he's trying his best, but it's just like some people kind of, in the town, whatever, kind of keeping their distance from him, because they just feel like, you know, at times, you know, he's a drunk, and then at moments where he might come up like he might be a little bit of a hothead at times, whatever. And then him talking about how he showed up, you know, towards the beginning when they were, you know, fending off those guys. He came in when they were in regards to the 2, and he was like, one of them just, you know, he could have gotten me, but he let me pass. And he says, I think he felt sorry for me. And that was when he's like, he dealt with them, you know, because it made him enraged. I see where he's going with this. Now, in the instance of the show, you gotta wonder, and I can't, because I can't, you know, be in that situation in what he's been through. But it's like, you didn't want him to feel sorry for him. If he just killed you, he killed you. But I'm like this: you have this opportunity and chance, but it's almost like he keeps wallowing enough that all he does is drink, drink, drink. House looks disheveled, it's just disarray. Nobody clean up, and then nobody's in there. You see pill bottles everywhere. It's just like, do you want to just, you know, drink yourself to death, you know, and stupid? What are you doing? Because it's like you're not trying to ever. So hopefully that Burton presented to him to come out and help, since it was presented to Burton through his sister. We'll see if he does, and I think he will. And hopefully that'll have him somewhat distracted. It'll slowly pull him out of this, whatever he's going through, where he just, you know, feel like, you know, the anger and despair of his whole overall situation. It's a lot. It's a lot. Just my thoughts on him, you know, because I'm really enjoying, you know, his character and understanding what is going on. And I like the fact that with him, the layers of that, and of course with the town, and definitely with his friendship with Burton. And I'm assuming, I don't know if the other one might be the cousin, one of the other guys, but, you know, definitely history with them going back to when they were young. That's why I'm glad Burton did go out there when, you know, Flynne made that comment to and all that, and he followed through. So again, this episode was really good. I will say this: there was one other part I want to forget that you see at the beginning with a woman named Charisse. She showed up in the first episode when Aelita was telling him to pan around when they were into some little party, like to don't deal with her, whatever. So that was the female. And you see Daniel talk to him, and they showed the AI of it. So they, you know, they like, you know, it's on the black market. They put out, you know, whatever the money on the bounty to get them, whatever and all that. They have to do this somewhat discreet, you know, however they need to do it. We need to get rid of course, them and whoever, you know, they know. So you can tell Charisse is not about games here. She's about getting things done. So it's going to be very, very interesting once we get a load of her, how she might come into contact with McDonald or Aelita, definitely with Flynne. I'm interested in seeing, from what Will said to Flynne about, you know, her having, you know, the peripheral. Definitely just very much intrigued with, you know, as each episode go to learn more and more, and trying to listen to see what's actually being talked about and spoken to, so I don't kind of lose, you know, sight of exactly the overall storyline, with hence the title. But I'm really liking this, and I like how mostly everybody we've seen so far with the cast definitely plays a part in some form in how this all, you know, coming together, which centers around, like I said, Flynne and Burton. So with that said, you guys, comment below, let me know what you think, and with that said, I'll see you guys in the next reaction. You guys take care.